morning, listeners and viewers to the Real Stuff podcast. Today we have Indigenous Outlook, and my guest today is Akilah. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Jaramogi.
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 Mugi. Okay, yeah, I remember it now. Jaramogi. And we should be also having Miss Cynthia Ellis from Belize, Garifuna, Ambassador at Large. And Akilah is the head of the American Maroon in Trinidad and Tobago, among other lots of other things that she'll tell us a little about. So, Akilah, could you tell our listeners just a brief thing about it yourself?
Omi tutu. Ona tutu. Ile tutu. Ori tutu. Tutu laroye. Tutu ariku babawa. I just call on the ancestors by shaking my shakare. Each seed in the shak represents an ancestor, so I call on them to guide me. I continuously depend on them to guide me, and I call on the Orishas to ask them to clear my path, clear my head, so we can have a good meeting. Asha.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. And I
So
and
I
I would
am.
imagine that they would guide the meeting also.
Thank you, Asha. Asha. So a little intro. I am Akilah Jaramogi, Ifa Basola from Trinidad and Tobago. I am the co-founder and CEO of American Heritage Foundation here in Trinidad. I am sixth generation American, and I'm also the co-founder of the Fonsaman Community Reforestation Project, where I live here, and I've been here doing reforestation work for over 35 years.
Mm,
I am also the co-founder of the United Maroon Indigenous Peoples, and this organization was officially formed in 2021, having done work since 2014 and carrying various names and so on. Collectively, countries came together, Maroon descendants came together in Dominica, and we created the name United Maroon Indigenous Peoples. I am at present the lead of that organization, and in moving forward, we set ourselves with objectives and goals to collectively be advocates and voices for our Maroon peoples throughout the diaspora. So this is what I've been doing over the years, and I continue to commit to lending my service and resources to my Maroon family throughout the diaspora. Asha.
wonderful. Thank you very much. Now,
Okay.
recently you visited Jamaica along with other Maroon leaders, indigenous leaders. First, I must apologize for not able to come and see you during that time, but the timing was not the best for me. So, could you tell us something about what that was all about? And then we're going to, your experiences and all of that.
Okay, thank you. And the gathering in Jamaica this year was all about being there to welcome the special rapporteur for the UN Indigenous Peoples' Rights to Jamaica. This came about being at the UN last year when a contingent attended the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. And there, through our legal advisor, Andy Reid, he pointed out the special rapporteur, Francisco Calitize, at the forum at the UN building in the US. And he said, you should try to talk to him. And there I got his attention. He was now wrapping up meetings with some African leaders and so on. And I got his attention, and with the support of my delegation, we all circled him and, get his interest. So we have photos to show, we were waiting on him because a lot of people were just there waiting to see the special rapporteur. And after finishing his meeting with some African leaders, he came across, and I greeted him, and he asked one question. He said, how do you see yourself? And I answered, I see myself as an indigenous African maroon woman, or an indigenous African American maroon woman. And then he said, yes, now we can talk. Because indigeneity and seeing yourself as indigenous and to be declared indigenous, it's all about how you define yourself as an individual.
Oh, yes.
So it's not how someone label you, but how you see yourself that makes you indigenous. The way you dress, the way you live, the way you speak, the way you eat, the way you dance, the way you pray, that makes you an indigenous person as long as you can acknowledge that. And he was quite pleased to hear that, a lot of the Maroon sisters and brothers who were there can truly identify themselves as being indigenous. It is no longer about a territory to say like, okay, you're indigenous to Trinidad or indigenous to Jamaica or Guyana, but it's all about, that self-identity. And we know for sure our roots are from Africa, and that's where our indigeneity lies. The way we dress like our ancestors and pray like them and eat and dance and, the way we carry about ourselves, the way we accessorize ourselves, these are attributes and life ways from our indigenous ancestors. So if you take a Taino brother and put him in Alaska, he will still be a Taino.
Yes.
So if you take me from Africa and bring me to the Caribbean, I'm still an indigenous African. I will not drop my life ways and the way I live, for nothing. And, even though some of our African brothers and sisters are in denial of being, indigenous, we know the value of embracing our traditions and holding on to these beautiful attributes that were handed down by our ancestors. So getting him there now in that meeting, we told him that, our reason for being at the UN, right, seeking, that indigenous people status. And he said, the first thing you have to do is to invite me to your country, right? And then he said, I can visit Jamaica, right? Because, he felt comfortable to visit Jamaica, having connected through the UN with our Honorable Dr. Vereen Shepherd and others who have been advocating at all levels for culture and people in the region through the UN. So he said he can come through an academic visit or state visit. But, the best way, since we have academics on our team, the best way is to invite him through an academic visit, an academic invite. So right away, our Professor Diana Fox, who have been with us on this journey since 2017, but way beyond that, but 2017 when we started talking UN, she said, okay, she will take on the mantle of getting the University of the West Indies to send that invite to make sure that Special Rapporteur can visit Jamaica and see the Maroons and hear our stories, and not just the Maroons, but other indigenous groups, and hear our stories, and be it good or bad or otherwise, and directly see on the ground how we you know identify ourselves, how we live our indigenous life ways. And that is why he was there in Jamaica, to observe and to witness the way we live.
Well, to go to the ending before we go into the middle, what was the result? What was the consensus of the result of this visit? As as you know, was it good? Was it successful in that
It was
light?
successful. It was successful because it's not every Monday morning you can get a special rapporteur for the UN to put aside his busy schedule to come to your country.
Yes.
Sometimes we have indigenous groups, they visit the UN for years before they get a visit of special rapporteur or someone from, the UN Advisory Committee or so to come visit your country. And that was an honor, and it was quick in doing because the first visit we had, the first contingent that went to the UN, myself, Mama G, Gloria Sims, and we had Fidelia Grangalon from Suriname. We had Trinidad, Suriname, Jamaica, and Seminole brother from the US. We all went to the UN in 2019. And it was very hard to even get to speak at the UN, even though we put down our names and so on. We had to voice our concerns and so through a side meeting. So we decided to go again, but then COVID stepped in, and so 2020 and 2021 we were unable to meet, and we decided to go back in 2022. And having him agreed to come see, and build a case on us, that was very, 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 progressive and beneficial to us. So that is one of the benefits, just getting him to come to Jamaica and build a case on what he witnessed. And I
Hmm.
sure what he saw, it was nothing unreal. Yeah.
Well, I know that he visited a number of indigenous communities in Jamaica. What was his reception? The reception he got, and what was his thoughts?
Well, I will not really know his thoughts, but I can say about the
Well, based
reception.
on based on what he has, probably a speech he gave or whatever.
Oh, yes, some of his, okay, the feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, so in visiting the communities, first we had the Taino, we visited the Taino community, and we have Chief Kayla, and he took us to the Taino community, that sacred ground, and that space. I can't remember the name, but yeah, he took us to the Taino sacred space, and that was a moving movement. We had that ceremony where we pray and we sang, and we all passed through that smoke ceremony and rituals
Okay.
with the first people getting the blessings and permission from the ancestors to proceed, because this is a format we take. This is what we do anywhere we go in the Caribbean. We pay homage to the first peoples. So be it the Kalinagos or the Garafunas or the Tainos, the Waro, we pay homage to the first peoples on whose lands we borrow or we share. And following that ceremony, it was quite, as I said, it was quite moving. The rituals and so on. Special Rapporteur was really pleased about that. And following that, we went to Charlestown. And oh gosh, people who are accustomed with Charlestown, you know what you gave. That's the Jamaican people. But for those who don't know and experience it for the first time, it was beautiful. It was really an experience experience, a lived experience of our ancestors awakening, and just through, us being there, it was a manifestation of life and love and blessings from our ancestors. So he witnessed that. He danced with us as well, and that was moving. Oh, we also went to Scott's Hall, and there he got an opportunity to dance as well. There he got an opportunity to get some blessings from the elders, the chiefs, and the elders in the village, and to taste the food and to witness the sounds and hear the sounds and everything and stories. And by all means, I sure it was one of the positives that he had to take back. And following that, so we had Scotts Hall, we had the Taino village, then we had Charlestown, and with the beautiful food and so on. And then Mama G Fire, oh my God, that was a piece of ceremony in the back by Big Tree. Mama G did her rituals, our gaman of the diaspora. We rever Mama. We pay salutation. We offer light and blessings that Mama G just, oh, she just exhaled. She went into her deepest self and just blessed everyone. And she had this big fire, and we had a table of food and fruits and stuff. It was really, really, really enlightening to experience. And I would encourage anyone, when you get an opportunity, to experience Mama G's contribution, when she said a sacred moment, that spiritual moment with Mama G. It was really, really, really enlightening and moving. So he had that experience, and we had the dancers, as you know, from Charlestown,
Oh,
and
yes.
Colonel Marcia David Rodney, and the drummers and the chanters. And following that, we moved out of Charlestown for that long drive to Accompong. And that was something that the journey was worth, following. That was really a blessing. So I know for sure what Special Rapporteur witnessed, and in his report, and even in what he said, because he was not in a position to speak or to say, like, this is what his finding, this is the result of his finding, and so on. His presence there was to observe. It was non-political, it was non-judgmental. He was not in a position to say yay or nay or you all are, what and what. He was just there to observe, along with his advisor, Dr. Elisa Machai. So both of them, as they stated clearly, their position was not to make comments, to say, like, it was not like that. He was not in a position to comment. He was not in a position to comment on cases around the government or anything. He was there to observe, and that we appreciate. And we can see the nods and the whole facial expression of appreciation, and
Appreciation, yes.
yeah, yeah, for keepers of tradition. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, was it your first time in Jamaica?
Oh no, it was my fourth time in Jamaica.
Okay, okay, okay. So you enjoyed the time well.
Oh yes, I enjoyed it fully, and part of one of the highlights was having our meeting with members of the different groups,
Yeah,
and we had presentations from Professor Hilary Beckers. We had our esteemed Diana Fox. We had Chief Richard Corey. We had Cassie K. Ronaldo and Chief Kaylan. We
yeah,
also had a rep from the Reparation Committee from Barbados, Steve Reed, We also had the Rastafarian movement. We had a rep from the Rastafarian movement, Professor Greg. We had the Honorable Ambassador at Large, Sylvia Ellis, with a powerful presentation as always, And we had Marcus Goff, and he was, talking on behalf of White Call and myself. We were expecting Sir Hilary Beckers at that meeting, but unfortunately did not show up. But however, it was a moving ceremony, and the room was packed, having all the Maroon groups from Jamaica, as well as representatives from Belize, the Mayan people, the Garifuna. We had our American community and a big contingent from the Rastafarian community as well. We had our lawyer Andy Reid there, and we had another legal rep from Trinidad, Dr. Caroline Bayatobi, and we had the Jamaican consult from not Jamaica, from Ghana, based in Trinidad. He was there, and another elder from Ghana living in Trinidad. So we had our African presence there as well, diplomats from Africa with us.
Wonderful.
So again, it was a really, really nice meeting, that breakfast meeting at the University of the West Indies, where all these participants had the time to share their thoughts and share their plans and some of their successes and challenges, so that the special rapporteur could have take notes, at that meeting. So that was really, really a beneficial gathering. Yeah.
So when are you going back to the UN?
I will be right now. The forum for people of the forum on indigenous issues is going on right now, but unfortunately I cannot attend. I will check to see if any of our colleagues um, are planning to attend, or if they are attending online. But I had to excuse myself from that trip because of my work here at Fonsaman and
Yes.
with my American group and other livelihood matters that I have to take into consideration, because most of these things are not funded. You have
Yes.
to dip in your pocket, or maybe if you get back, if you reimburse, it takes a while. So in order to sustain yourself, you have to keep focus on the livelihood aspect of
Yes.
the work
Yes.
and make sure that you can have your dollar flowing.
Hmm.
But I will be going back to the UN in May to attend the second permanent forum on people of African descent. And the registration is open. So for listeners now, you all can go Google and represent. You don't have to belong to an organization or so. You can go represent yourself. You can hear what's happening on our behalf as we end the decade for people of African descent in 2024. You can pull up cases on reparation, reparatory justice, and other matters, other things that are affecting us, and you can put your case forward. So again, this registration is still open to attend the second forum for people of African descent and let your voice be heard. So I will be going on behalf of the United More Indigenous Peoples and our American community here in Trinidad to that event.
How can you gauge the progress so far as it relates
I
to
would
the international thing like with the UN and all that? Are we making progress?
I would say yes. Yes, because people are becoming more aware. People are becoming more vocal. People are, showing solidarity. And when I say people, not just our Maroon community, but Africans globally are waking up. Africans in America, UK, Canada. When I went to the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent, December in Geneva last year, we had a lot of participation from Canada, the US, and the UK, along with the Caribbean, but the higher numbers were coming from Canada, the UK, and the US.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for us in the Caribbean to push our advocacy work some more to build awareness. And I was really looking forward to all these reparation committees that were formed to come out and be a little more vocal, but somehow, somebody to go after them. Maybe through your Real Stuff podcast, you can find folks who belong to reparation committees, get them on your program, and find out if there are cases ready
Yeah.
to be presented to the UN. Because this is what these reparation committees are supposed to be doing, building cases and seeking reparation, in whatever ways, be it dollars and cents or be it otherwise. They're supposed to have cases ready, and very little cases are being presented to the UN. And hence they are saying the end of the decade is coming, 2024, and we cannot even show much in terms of a real case,
Yeah.
where we can get, money, cases for crimes that have been committed against our ancestors, you know, and cases where we have been abused, where we have, our land rights have been infringed upon, and so on. So this is what the reparation committee is supposed to be doing. However, I went there and I share my story, I share our story as Maroons, and hope to go back again with a stronger case this year.
Wonderful. 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 And are you having another gathering this year like last year?
We have to go back to the team and assess and make sure that the gatherings are worth having. So again, I cannot say right away, but yeah, I cannot say right away, but before the year is over, definitely we will be meeting somewhere other than going to the UN in May to the decade. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us again and giving us an insight of what happened with the UN rapporteur. And
You're welcome. And for us, we have some matters that we want to continue pushing. For example, the Declaration of the United Maroon Peoples. I hope maybe to send it to you, and so we can keep rolling this out, declaring the rights of our people. As we say, we declare an end to racial discrimination and injustice against our African indigenous Maroons globally in all forms and manifestations. We declare that African indigenous Maroon peoples globally be compensated through reparation, financially, socially, and otherwise, for the crimes committed against our ancestors. We declare that our African indigenous Maroon communities, both children and adults, be taught an African language. We declare the rights to land for farming and to practice our rituals the way our ancestors used to. And this declaration goes on to, we have 20 points here that we continue to share, not just among ourselves, but we want to get it in the institutions. I will be sharing this again at the UN, so we hope that a lot of people get access to copies of this declaration that was created by 13 countries that make up our United Maroon Indigenous Peoples. So again, I want to say thanks on behalf of my team, and I hope that Sister Ellis will get a chance to share her side of the
yes, definitely.
of what happened. experience because it was really moving. And it's not just moving, people moving, it's spirit moving, spirit talking, because we feel the powers of our ancestors, and it is beyond just that mortal energy, it's that unseen spiritual force that guides us to do what we have to do. And we say Ashe.
Lead us to Fula. You belong far away away. Ajugwala Lebabu Seru. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me do what set me if it could flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight.